So that's the first thing I would say. Be very honest to yourself. Be very honest when you pray. I go back to that. We talked about prayer last night. I think the moment of prayer, those few minutes or hours or whatever, it doesn't matter how long it takes, but those moments of prayer is when who you really are is actually born. And if you jump those, or if you rush through them, or if you just don't do your prayer one day, you're basically not allowing yourself to be born. You're not allowing yourself to find out who you are supposed to be. I mean, I know myself, when I sit and I pray, I very often think, oh, this is really going well. I mean, this is really going well. I mean, where's the light? And then you realize it's not that well, because you are aware of what you're doing, and because you are aware it's supposed to be well. It's good prayer. And in many ways, it's rather than an apophatic way of doing theology, an apophatic way of living your life. You build your prayer, you build yourself up in prayer, and then God gives you one fraction of a second when you realize that you're faking it all. And then you have to take down that idol that you've created in your own heart about yourself and start doing it again. And it is extremely humbling, it is extremely frustrating, and it takes a lot of time. But if you don't do it, you will end up building an idol. You will build up thinking that you are something that you aren't actually. So this fight for honesty, some people would call it being authentic in your prayer. This is essential. If you manage to have 1 second, I won't even say 1 moment, of being completely blank, honest, naked in front of God every day, every night, then you will know what your path is supposed to be, if you are meant to be a monastic or not. Sometimes, I remember in England, someone asked me, I kept going back to this expression of nakedness, of being naked, because that's how I felt. I feel exposed in those moments. I feel that God sees things I would really like Him not to see. Although, theoretically, I do pray that He heals everything in me. And actually, I get to see things of myself that I would like very much to just bury and ignore that they are there. I'm now trying to be as honest about everything as I can. But I remain aware that you are here, and that you will go and, mind your own lives and take what I say and say it further. I'm also aware of that camera. I'm also aware that I don't have any control of what's going to happen with this recording. So despite my attempts to be honest, there is a mask. I might talk to only 2 or 3 of you, and I'm doing my best to be honest, but I'm aware that I'm a monastic. I'm aware I am a priest. I'm aware I represent the Orthodox faith. I'm aware I'm perhaps one of the very few monastics you will meet this year. So again, in spite of my best intentions to be completely honest, I have a mask. And this happens with everyone. Even if you interact with your best friend, or the people you meet in your offices, or people in the church, or in the street, we always carry a mask. And very often, I would say always, we have a mask when we look into the mirror as well. We like to see things about ourselves, or at least to think things about ourselves, and ignore the rest. Well, when you sit down, and you kneel, and you pray, that's when the only aim should be to get rid of all the masks. To be completely naked. It's not an intellectual process. It's not you going through a list of questions. It's you learning who you are by prayer. And then you will know. One of the most beautiful, to me, bits of the Old Testament is Jacob's fight with that being, with that angel that the Holy Fathers understand as being God himself. As that fight where Jacob would not let go until God tells him his real name. And at the end of it, God says, "What's your name?" And he says, "I'm Jacob." And God says, "From now on, your name is Israel." At the end of this fight, you will find out who you are. It might not be who you think you are. You might look in the mirror and not recognize anything. You might be called by another name than the one you used to give yourself, but at least you know that is who you truly are. And I told people in Monastery this is one of the most intimate fears I've had, and actually one of the almost obsessions that got me into a monastery eventually, was this image of me just before death, looking back on my life and realizing that I have lived a life that is not my own. I have lived a life that was given to me by others, my parents or society or my ambitions or my fears or whatever else, but I've not lived my life. And the idea of looking back, no longer forward, because there's nothing in front of you anymore, looking back and realizing I should have been there, and instead of that I chose to be here, and therefore who I am today is not who God created me to be. That to me is hell. To go through life not being yourself, and to face death not being yourself, to die of a death that is not your own. That is one of the most horrible thoughts I have had for many, many, many years, and it actually contributed a great deal to me ending up becoming a monastic.